Welcome to Let's Talk About It. A podcast gets a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Enjoy the show and enjoy this journey. Welcome everybody to Let's Talk About It. A podcast that gives a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Today, my guest is an author, a motivational speaker, a mentor. She is also a veteran of the U.S. Army and the National Guard Reserve. She also received the Army Achievement Medal for her work during Hurricane Katrina. Amazing. She has an amazing story to tell. She also has a children's book that we actually will dabble into later on. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Ashley Woods. Ashley, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I like that
Oh,
intro.
I
Felt
appreciate that.
made me feel special.
Hey, you are special. Every guest is special on my show. Every guest. Ashley, I read your bio. Someone referred your story to me. We both know Sabrina. No, shout out to Sabrina. I know she'll be watching this. She'll
Yes,
have her
thank
little
you,
popcorn
Sabrina.
in hand watching it. Oh, I love Ashley so much. I love her. Right. So your story is very, very interesting. I read your bio. I loved it. Um, Before we get to your army days, like, can you tell us, like, tell us a little bit about Ashley before she got to the army?
uh, Ashley, before she got to the army,
Mm.
wild,
Oh.
rebellious, and I lacked a lot of, what can I say? I lacked a lot of, attention, love at the time. Um, my parents were the parents that was more focused on, working, providing a roof over the head, clothes on your back. That's it. So I wasn't that with my parents, um, on that level, which led me to go to the army because I went through so many things when I was younger, especially being introduced to mental health through my sister, um, which she's 17 years older than me. And at
Mm.
the time when I was 6 years old, she had put me in the bathtub with clothes on, tied my arms around my back, tied my mouth up, and she was proceeded to hit me with a baseball bat. And my mom stopped her, and that was like my introduction to mental health. I just remember being in the cop car with my mom, cold, following, wherever the ambulance was taking her. Later on, they kind of brushed it under the rug and just kind of just told me, um, she had some issues. She had a mental breakdown when she was 17, and I was a newborn at that time. And I guess, in our cultural, we don't take care of things like that. And it probably wasn't that many resources for mental health. So I think they
Yeah.
first diagnosed her with bipolar, and later on in life, she's schizophrenia. So, and that's an ongoing battle still, with today. So
Mm.
a lot of people think PTSD is something just relatively coming from the military, and it's not. It's any trauma you suffered in your life, that can have a major impact on you. And I suffered my first trauma at 6 years old, and then it continued with one of my cousin's fathers wanting to try to have, sex with me, molest me. And I did the right thing, and told my parents, and it was just more so limit myself from being around him. And I'm like, I'm the child. I didn't feel like, you know, they made me feel like I did the wrong thing in telling them. I don't know if they knew how to handle it or they didn't want to believe it, but
Yeah.
I didn't get that support at that time with that situation. So every family function, you got to constantly see this person who at age 13 was trying to, rubbing on your arm and telling you, they want to have sex with you, and they the father of my cousin and dealt with my aunt. So it was crazy. So by the time I was 16, I was kind of over being in Philadelphia, over being around my family. I kind of felt like the black sheep,
Mm.
and I guess like I did a lot of cry out for attention because I was, my parents, for whatever reasons, like when I played sports, they never came. So I played baseball and basketball throughout middle school
Yeah.
and high school. They never came to a game, and I think they made it to my graduations,
Yeah.
and I think one play that I was in, but I wrote essays. I did things for Dare, the thing that was circling around drugs that I like to write at a young age, poetry and stuff like that. So it's like I come home with a good report card. It was like they ain't care, so I stopped caring. So I
Wow.
kind of like barely passed. I was young at that time. It's different now. I love and appreciate school, but back then, child, you want to hear those positive reinforcements.
Yeah.
You look to make your parents proud. And
Oh
so
yeah.
when they're not giving you that energy, well, what am I doing this for? It's not important to them. No help with homework. I did my own thing. They woke me up, made sure I got to school and got home. And I kind of just took care of myself while they went through, whatever life was handling them. So that
Actually,
was like,
no. Yeah, I'm sorry about you. I'm gonna cut
yeah.
you off, right? You know how in today's age, right? A lot of people would say if you got a problem at a young age today, say like, listen, talk to someone, talk to your teachers and shit like that. They love to say talk to your teachers. So I'm assuming back in the days, did you have a teacher or anybody else to talk to?
Not nobody is so, comfortable. When you in certain families growing up, it's like you keep family business.
Yeah, I got you.
Um, I didn't feel that connection with any of my family members or the counselor or a teacher at school that, let them know like, man, I'm in a two-parent household, but I feel very lonely and neglected. So I didn't know, how to go about it. So, I started just going outside a lot, doing what I can to, be away from my home setting.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. Where uh, I grew up in West Philly back in the day. And
Okay.
you know what I mean, like everybody got issues, and like we got home issues. It's nobody we talk to. No parents can't talk to teachers. And in school they have these what they call, I guess, like guidance counselors or some shit like that, whatever. Like, just like you said earlier, family business, family problems, you keep it at home. You can't talk to nobody in school. So for me, I was talking to people on the street. Like, and back in my day, my counselors was like the winos in the corner, the drug dealers in the corner. I mean, like, it was crazy that my whole life I started talking to people that I shouldn't even talk to, and that took me down the wrong path for too, at a well young age. So I can feel what you're talking about. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So that's what basically happened. Over the course of time, of course, when you get older, you start to understand they've had their own struggles and battles. So I definitely forgave them down the line. I understood they loved me, but I had to understand their way of like loving me. What I expect, because I always used to watch sitcoms like Fresh Prince of Bel Air and Family Matters, and I wanted that. Like I can't even tell you. One time I sat at a table and ate dinner with my mom and dad. I went out to eat with them the first time with us together. I
Wow.
was 27 years old, visiting back from being a contractor in Afghanistan. And I
Wow.
forced them. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was IHOP, but it meant the world to me because I just never able to capture certain memories with them.
Damn. I
Our best memories is playing spades. I learned that at 8 years old because that was like a family house ritual game. So my best memories, with my parents is playing spades.
God, girl, I ain't learned space till I was 12. So you had me beat. And it was some vicious games back. Listen, you know how spades is. Spades is vicious. But so you went through that at a very early age, right? And now are you in a better place like mentally and after all them years?
I'm in a better place mentally, but I will not lie. A lot of things came from therapy. I'm currently doing my best to take my anxiety medication that I was prescribed. I don't be liking sometimes how it make me feel, but
Yeah.
therapy, and I like to keep busy. Sabrina always saying like, "Girl, I don't know where you find the time to do all that," and it's a healing thing for me because idle time don't do well with the thoughts of my head. With me losing both of my parents, back to back, because I took care of them until they both, passed on. I moved them in with me. Um, and that was the most love I ever seen them on their way out the world. Like, that's the most love I ever got from them. And so, not being close with my family, it kind of like, shattered me. And I'm just getting back on my feet from recovering from my mother's death in 2021, which happened 2 weeks before my birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you.
Trust me, I know how it is about losing back to back parents. I lost my mother, my father, and my grandmother back to back to back years. I totally understand. It's a hard thing to get over. A lot of people don't understand what you and I go through on that nature right there. And it's so difficult. And oh my God, damn. But
No matter how old you are and how you understand it in this world, that's how it's going to happen. And it's supposed to happen that way. They prefer, for your parents to go before you. You're
yes.
never mentally prepared for it. Like, I'm thankful that I didn't go through what some of my friends might have went to experience with their parents getting killed and things like that. They went from health ailments, but today when you go through problems in life and you don't have anyone to turn to or lean on, it hurts because at least I knew that they didn't judge me. At least I knew that, the love was unconditional. I don't have that anymore. So sometimes it made me be in bad relationships because I was searching for, something and accepting anything because,
Wow.
you know, and you do that and you wind up in bad and toxic relationships. And my parents had a toxic relationship, and I proceeded to emulate that, not intentionally, but
Mhm.
just not knowing how to conflict resolution, thinking, communicating,
Wow.
shutting down. So it's like, I'm 30 something years old and my reaction to something might come across to someone else childish, but like, this is basically all I know, like shutting down and not saying nothing, and having an attitude and not talking it out, but therapy has been helping me, but it's still
Awesome.
a work in process. It's a work in process.
Wow. All right. So when did you come to the point where you chose to go to the army?
To be honest, 9/11 happened in 2001. I literally signed up that November.
Really?
I was still 16, and I wasn't really understanding what I was doing. But when Army National Guard person came to our school and talked, I was locked in, and I made sure I talked to him. I got his card. I said I want to do this, and I just, I looked at my neighborhood, things that was going on. I looked
Mhm.
at my family, and I just felt like if I stayed in Philadelphia and just didn't open my mind to something, my the trajectory of success was not going to be for me. Um, and my parents was upset at me. They still had to sign, because I turned 17 in January.
Mhm.
And, by then I'd already, took the pre-test and everything. And
Yeah.
I made up my mind to go into basic training, soon as my summer was over, I wanted to enjoy graduating high school, which I barely did that. So,
I've been there.
so
Trust me. I know. I know how that
uh,
is.
so I had to go, and it wasn't at that time. It wasn't about the country. It was more so just about finding a place to fit in and having another family. Because I look at the camaraderie, and I'm like, I just wanted that family like feeling. And that's why I went to the military.
So you went to the Army first or National Guard first?
I went into the National Guard first because I was still, a little skeptic. I think only time I've been out of Philadelphia was like the North Carolina driving wise. I had never been on a plane, so I just put my feet in. But once I got a taste of it, and then I did Hurricane Katrina, I was like, I gotta go full time. I like this. I can do this every day. So I didn't like when you come back, it's the 1 week in a month. I ain't like that. And what really made me, said I was gonna go to the army is like my military graduation. It's like 500 something us graduating, and like out of all the families, mine was the only one that ain't show up. And
Oh,
it was a week after my 18th birthday, and my first sergeant, because I think that he probably didn't even expect me. I was hard headed in the National Guard, so I think he said he would treat my parents, if I passed, and I passed, and they're like, oh, we'll just make it, you know, we'll come to your graduation from your school in the military. But it was just like, that was the big one for me because that was something I didn't think that I can do or put my mind to at the time and do it, and it left me hanging on that day. So it's like my whole life has been full of a lot of disappointments. So when people compliment me or tell me good things, I don't even know how to receive it because I always expect something to go left or go wrong
hey,
or to be disappointed.
I've been there, right? But if you can think, like, what made you, like, if you can think about it now, what do you think? Why was you so hard headed when you was going through training?
Um, it was like I think I just got to the point where I was tuning out my parents back at home, and I just couldn't. I wasn't the first 4 weeks. I was hard headed. Like they tell us to fold stuff a certain way, put it in a thing. I come out, all my clothes out on the in the bay because I ain't rolled it up the right way. and and I don't know. The turnaround I think for me happened when this soldier he took his life in the shower.
Well,
He wrapped the laundry bag cord around his neck and took his life. And his last name was Paradise. And when I seen my drill sergeant Ross, kind of like she was looking at all us, and she had a tear in her eye. When I seen that emotion, I'm like, oh, they really care about us. And then I just had to start thinking, like, okay, they hollering at me. I don't like it, but I'm getting physically stronger. Learn how to shoot, learn how to read a compass. I'm learning how to go through these obstacle courses. I'm getting paid every 2 weeks and not able to touch it until the end. Everything that they was doing was a pro. It was a pro. It wasn't a con. It's like, and I just the switch turned, and it's like everything they was doing was benefiting me being, a better soldier, a better person at the time. I couldn't accept it because the people who brought me in this world, you know, was up and down with me. So what am I listening to anybody else for? And I
yeah.
had to get out that mindset and understand that the army was here to benefit me and elevate me, not hold me back.
So that was the part in the Army, right?
Yeah. I mean
So you
that
went.
was in there that was during basic training. I went down to basic training as a National Guards person. And
Okay.
then after Hurricane Katrina, I was like, I made up my mind and that's when I went full army and I got stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia.
All right. So you was in National Guard, the reserves, when Hurricane Katrina happened. Now, I assuming you was on base at the time.
Yeah, we drove down to Louisiana, and
But what did they
yeah,
tell you guys? Like, like when the hurricane happened, what did they tell you guys? Like, okay, like, all right, like all right, pack up. We going down there. We going to help. How the whole situation even started, and everything like that.
I was somebody that was always calling out a drill to go party and do that stuff like that. And when my first sergeant, and we all seen it on the news what was happening. My first sergeant like, all right, Woods, we going to help, down at Hurricane Katrina. I just was like, I was so excited to do it. Um, I I got I got into the spirit, and I think I was there. It was like be here at like 8 o'clock. I think I was there like at 6, and
Damn.
he was so shocked, and it was just about helping people. It was like doing something bigger than yourself. And I felt so. What made me want to do her Katrina so much is because I felt so helpless when my mom got shot around the corner from my house
Oh,
when I was um like 17 or 18. She got shot, and I felt helpless, like I couldn't help her, I couldn't save her. So to me, Hurricane Katrina was like, you know about like something I can do to help people.
oh
And
my
so
God.
I was excited to do that. Yeah.
Your mom got shot at 17.
No, no, she got shot.
No, no, no. When you was 17.
I think I was home on a. I think I might have been home on a break from school in uh Maryland, and she went to the laundromat, and I remember I was watching 106 in Park on the couch, and
BT.
all I heard was all these gunshots, and I ain't thinking of another because that was the norm. But then you hear a pause, and then another group of gunshots. So I'm like, okay, that sounds crazy. Let me go around the corner and just walk my mom back to the house and make sure, and get her out of there. And I go out there, and people is scattered around. The guy that got killed was laying down. He had like a Shaquille O'Neal jersey on, Lakers, and it was covered with blood. His back was gone because the person who killed him went over top of him and just kept letting loose. From my understanding, the person that got killed had robbed the person that shot him earlier that day,
Oh,
or and it was a that. And I'm looking for my mom. I'm like, where's she at? I see a lady shot in the leg, and then all I seen was my mom walking with her arm hanging, and she like, don't cry. And I seen the blood trickling down from my arm, and I like instantly like crying and stuff. And the telephone post saved her from being damaged even more. It
oh,
like because it was a shotgun, so it dipped in her skin and took a chunk out. But if it went like hit her, it would have been worse because it ricocheted off the telephone. It basically saved her life.
damn. Only in Philly, man. Only in Philly. But oh my God. So that was the experience for you right there.
Yeah.
I know that was a nice
So
experience.
it was yeah, and that was the same block she got hit by a car. Somebody was rushing to get to a wedding, broke her neck and legs, and she got hit by a car. It was like I could, I had to get out of 25th and Lehigh. Everything kept happening until my mom at 25th and Lehigh.
Oh, North Philly.
Yes, North
Yeah.
Philly in the
Well, you know what I
trenches.
mean? A lot of people don't understand. Like Philly, listen, I love my city. I grew up and was raised there, but it's wilding out right now. It's wilding out.
I mean, it was wild then, and
Yeah, it's been
it's
wild for
crazy now.
years. All right, let's get back to Hurricane Katrina. So when you got down to New Orleans, right, what was you doing with the Army, with the National Guard down there in New Orleans? for Katrina?
So we all was doing different things. My MOS was at that time a 52 Delta, and that was a generator mechanic. So we helped produce the power on, the bases. Some days we would, help pass out water, tarp, and materials. Um, some people would help with trucks, mechanics. Everybody had a job, paperwork. Some people got assigned where they put on those jumpsuits and they was going in and, helping. And we did, securing things. Um, my main thing, I got assigned to a gym with another soldier, and that was to make sure the power stayed running because they was running the gym as a hospital, and I was scared. I didn't feel crazy about my skills at that time as a generator mechanic, and it was like they set it up, and you got people on ventilators, all types of machines, and so that's where the Army Achievement Medal came because we ain't missed a beat. We ain't let that generator go out. I ain't want that to happen, or the other soldier didn't want that to happen on our watch. And that's where the medal came from because, when you got a hospital posing as a gym, you got people that need air and support to breathe and other machinery to stay, healthy or alive. That's a big responsibility. And I was scared as shit. I'm not even gonna sit up here and hold you.
Hey,
I was scared. So when my first sergeant gave me that, I was shocked because I'm the knucklehead of the company, and but I was proud of myself, and that's what started like the giving back, and that's what like I love that feeling of being able to help and support people, even if I never got the award or the acknowledgement. I love that feeling, and that started being a part of me for the rest of my life after that.
that is amazing. I mean, to go through all that pressure, that's a lot of pressure. Like you got to keep that generator going. You another soldier. You got everybody like depending on you. If that goes out, everybody dies in there. The people on the oxygen.
Yep.
Seriously, ask for real. Yeah, mad respect on that one, girl. That's the reason why they gave you that medal right there. I am so proud of you, and up and down. Now, how long did you stay in the army after that?
It wasn't too. I stayed probably a year and a half. I started having heart problems. I couldn't catch my breath. I kept passing out and fainting, and it would be for like a few seconds. And I found out like I had this condition called tricuspid regurgitation, and one of my valves was like not flapping right. So sometimes my blood would go the opposite direction, and with me doing extraneous activities, I wasn't athletic no more because I was playing basketball and baseball, so I didn't understand, and I had an enlarged heart, so I I had to get out. I try to stay in, whereas though I do desk duty and just not no physical activity, but
Mhm.
I guess they felt like it was in the best interest for me to get out, and I got out and had to restart my life over in 2007. June 20th, 2007 was my discharge date.
Wow. So is that the time right you went to Chestnut Hill College?
So I went to Chestnut Hill College probably a couple years after that. It took me a while to muster up to go to college because I wasn't a school person. So it took me some time. Um, I wasn't really in the academics. I didn't care about it. So I probably went to Chestnut College starting at 2010. Um, I was at Chestnut College, and then I moved to Georgia, went college over there, wound up coming back to Philadelphia after I did 3 years in Afghanistan, contracting.
That's what was it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got it backwards because I wanted you to discuss. You said you went overseas to work for 2 years as a civilian contractor supporting military in Afghanistan. Like, how'd you start doing that, and what did you do over there?
So somebody I knew that was in the military, I ran into them, and I ran into them. They was asking me, have I ever considered contracting work? Did I ever consider, going overseas? And at that time, I was like, I didn't even make it overseas to in the army. Because when they did my physical test, that's when they started finding all the issues. Is as we was getting ready to go, prepare to go to Iraq, but I never made it. I wound up getting discharged and staying. I wound up staying back and getting discharged out. So I was like, I never heard of it. They're like, you still know how to work on generators? And I'm like, yeah. And they said apply. And I applied. And at first I'm like, I'm not going to Afghanistan. Then when they hit me with the six figures, I was
Oh,
like, shit, I go.
man.
I was
Yep.
like, I go. And at that time, Obama was in office, so he made your first 98,000 tax free.
Oh,
So
what?
yeah, so after the 98,000, I was only taxed from 99 to whatever number I had. He got my book. He asked me, "Is this my book?" I had it for the interview, but
That's all right.
um, so yeah, so I went home to visit for 2 weeks. Everybody like, you crazy? He's gonna voluntarily go to Afghanistan? I was like, man, I can get shot going to the corner store.
Right?
And I was like, I I'm from North Philly. I'm not scared of these Afghans. At least I know who the enemies are. Here you
Exactly
be
right.
you be cool with people and they be your whole enemy. So
Facts.
I took my chances and I went over there. So it was about almost 3 years, 2 years plus, and most money I ever made in my life. And I did well, for myself starting at the age of 23. But when I hit 27, it went to a whole, but I didn't have nobody teaching me
Yeah.
certain things. I
But
didn't
what was
have
you doing
nobody to.
over there? Like they say you were supporting them. What was you doing?
So we'll split up the base between, it'll be two shifts, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I work the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the most part. And it's 12 hours every day. Your day off is when you go on vacation. And sometimes that's 3, 4, 5 months down the line. So they'll have generators all over the base because they don't have no Pico over there or regular source of energy over there. So I was at Fob Shank, and if you look up there, they bombed almost every day there. You might have a couple days here and there. You go without no bombs, but they bombed a lot. And I just kept saying, if I keep making it every 2 weeks, it's worth being here. And the check deposit, I'm alive. Let me go. Cause my first day, I think like 6 bombs hit, and I was like, they ain't about to piss on myself. I was like, I don't know about this. Then the check deposit, and I was like, all right, I keep making it every 2 weeks. I'll be all right.
I love it. I love
so,
it.
so
I
that's how it
love
was.
this. Oh
So
my goodness, man. That's the experience right there. And you're going through bombing and you gotta keep these generators alive. Again, another pressure situation. So do you think like what you went through with Katrina, with the pressure on you, kind of like set you up for this part? Like, okay, well, I went through Katrina, I'm keeping people alive. Now I'm over here in Afghanistan. I got shit going all around me. I mean, like, did you think that it helped you out with that? Like, kept you strong and more
it
focused?
probably did. I just been in a position in life I was always doubted, and so I move around with a chip on my shoulder,
I hear you.
and and doubted from my parents, my family, and I just move with a chip on my shoulder. And when somebody tell me I gotta do something, this is all bets. I want to do it. I'm going to come through. Even if it's certain things I didn't know, learn about the generator, man, I'm going to read, I'm going to research it. Because I ain't know every aspect. And sometimes we would deal with one megs that was, big generators and things of that nature. And I read, and sometimes you just got to use common sense. And I was the only female generator mechanic at the company I was at.
Oh, that's
That was
awesome.
so it was
That's
crazy.
amazing.
It's like a very needed job, but it's low in the females. And I only signed up for that in the military because they were like, I did good in like driving and mechanics. I don't know why, because I didn't know how to put nothing together. And it came with a bonus. I only did it because it was like, okay, this MOS coming to $10. I'll take it.
Hey,
And I thought about switching it, and I never did. And that was it.
hey, I love that. Let's get back to your Chestnut Hill College. You got a degree, a bachelor's degree in human resources management. So tell me about what's human resource management. What's that degree? What's that about?
Well, that's basically, every job has HR. And so you know how to manage people, do the orientation, set up the onboarding. Um, we conduct interviews, go through, resumes, making sure people qualify. Also, you deal with the policy and procedures at the company that you actually work with. So it's all based on the company needs and things of that nature. But, people come to us when they have complaints, whether it's work related, sexual harassment. We put together things for the company, as needed. You wear a lot of different hats in human resource management. And sometimes you have people under you that take care of many jobs, like specialists that will take care of certain little jobs to help you out. So when you are in a manager position in human resources, it's good to know how to delegate your responsibilities because you're required in meetings. You're getting pulled so many different ways. So having a good team around you, is good. And I
You
went
know,
for a career that I like engaging with people, but also something that I knew that is going to, every company needs human resource, whether they want to do it, out of office, in office. I knew this was something that is going to be down the line forever needed. HR is going to be forever needed in most companies. So I wanted to make sure I get a degree that made sense. Whereas though I'm not coming out of college spending, even though the military paid for it, $100,000 degree, but making $40,000 an hour. I mean, $40,000 a year,
well,
which don't make sense to me. So,
no.
we don't think about that. So that was the plus of going to school later on down the line because I thought carefully about what I was going for my degree in. And I cared about school by the time I did start going.
Wow, this is amazing. Wait, isn't Chestnut Hill in Germantown?
Uh, all the way up top, yeah. It's in
It's right above Germantown, right?
yeah.
Got you.
Hmm.
All right, I remember that. All right, all right. Now let's get into. You talked about when did you get diagnosed with PTSD?
I think the PTSD came definitely after I got discharged. I started experiencing some erratic thoughts, behaviors,
Gotcha.
and I took a test for the VA, and I passed with flying colors having PTSD. That's
I
all I
love
can say. Cause
it. I got you.
and that's what happened. So I want to say between 2010, 2011 is when I was diagnosed. It might have been earlier than that. I'm not too sure of the date, but I probably had it all my life and it just, you know, came about because I never addressed or got any closure for any of the situations that happened to me when I was younger.
Trust me, I get it. I'm doing it now. On my podcast, I'm telling my story. Like I go section by section by section because I never dealt with everything I dealt with from youth. the teenage to adulthood. And as I'm telling I'm not telling everything, but as I'm telling my story, maybe somebody else would understand it, but I'm doing it for me. It's my own source of therapy to where I'm talking about it, which I never did for years. I never talked about it. I'm getting it out on my chest, off my chest, and I'm talking about it and I'm bearing it. That's the way I'm dealing with it. Talking about things is very, very good because I was the worst. I talk about everything from childhood traumas, not having the best parents in the world, not having the most loving parents in the world. But once I start talking about it, like on this forum, this podcast forum, and hearing other people's stories, it helped me out. Which leads me to my next question. You said writing has become therapeutic for you. So explain that to me.
And I used to be ashamed of like the things that I was experiencing going through and didn't want to be looked at as like, I'm crying out for attention, um, placing myself as a victim. Because a lot of times everybody be like, oh, everybody go through stuff, but everything affects everybody differently.
Yes.
Yes, everybody go through stuff. There's somebody out here now that went through 10 times, worse things than me, and you.
Hmm.
But it doesn't take away how we felt or what came about it, the experiences and what, the damage that it might have caused us. So I shut up for a while because it seemed like people, like to have this ego whose story is the worst. I'm not trying to glorify my trauma. I'm not trying to outshine anybody, but I also don't want nobody taken away from the things that I went through. Because when you grow up trying to survive, you don't know how to live. So I'm still trying to learn how to live within the moment, just enjoy, what's in front of me. I feel like I got to do so many different things at one time because I just don't want to close my eyes one day and not live. And also, I always had that fear in my back of my head if I'm going to turn out, like my sister, and I'm going to one day have that breakdown and not be myself. That's always a big fear of, of myself. So
Yeah.
I just try to stay active and moving and always feet in my mind. And so people don't get that. And writing was one of those things that I could start doing before I started talking. And it helped me. And I was able to put my thoughts on a pen and, with the pen and paper. Nobody was there to judge me, talk about it. I could make all the mistakes in the world and, come back and correct it. It was just being able to tell your story your way and from your perspective without no interruptions is like the best feeling in the world.
That's what I'm
It gives
doing. That's what I'm
and
doing
I
now. That's
and
what I'm
I'm
doing.
and I want to I want to commend you and give you a big thumbs up because this is a healing thing. Talking is hard, and once you get to it and you start opening up, it just takes a monkey off your back. It don't correct
Yes.
everything that all the mistakes that might feel like you made, but a lot of people don't know what a knowledge and acceptance go through does to you. And I speak of that in my mental health book, about absorbing, acknowledging, and accepting who you are, what you are, and what you're trying to become. Because a lot of people do not take accountability, for the role that they played
Mhm.
in anything. Like a lot of things happen to me, but I also have to take accountability, for the way I might have responded and that energy. Even though I was a child, right from right is wrong from wrong. And the same grace I wanted my parents to give me, I had to learn how to give them. So once you kind of like accept, like, okay, I'm different, because I try to use buying material things and luxury cars and having fly homes and
Yeah.
the freshest sneak. I used everything to try to mask what was wrong with me. And when you insecure about who you are, it's gonna come out. No matter how good you know how to dress, no matter how much you're making, how successful you are. And I had to deal with my, my insecurities, my trauma, and, deal with my flaws head on.
Hey, listen, I totally understand. The only thing I gotta disagree with you with is I love some fresh kicks. I do. That's just yeah, I mean, like I gotta
I
have my
still do
ones.
too.
I gotta have my ones, you know what I mean? I gotta have some fresh ones because they don't last long. You gotta be very gentle with them. You got like, you
One,
know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You gotta walk on air
one
with
or
them
two
things, you know what I
weeks.
mean?
Now I
And
know about the fresh ones.
exactly. Let's talk about in 2016 you published a book, The Alphabet Dreams, a children's book. What made you think of writing a children's book, and what inspired you to do that?
A lot of things that I do is always things that I wish that I had when I was younger.
Mm.
And I always thought, like, when you think about the alphabet, they always hit you with some bullshit. A for apple. So I
Yeah.
wanted to do something different and use careers with the alphabet, going through the
Uh,
letters of the alphabet. A is for Oscar, B ballerina, C is, and I just challenge kids more and more to think outside of B is for ball and C is for cat. And I wanted them to see, themselves being something, using the letters of the alphabet. So
that's creative. That is so creative. I've never would ever thought of that shit. That's better than I think that's better than any child book out there. That really, I mean, like the letter alphabets for professions, especially with kids. That's amazing right there. Everybody knows about Apple and cat and bat and all that shit. No, what you did, that is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? When I put this up, you gonna send me the information about the book. I'm gonna flood everybody about this book. I love that. Uh so again, but what was the point where you was like, all right, well, I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it my way. So this is what you said earlier. So everything you've been through in your life, you was like, I'm going to change it up. I wanted this to be when I was a kid. You was like, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to change the game because that's what you just basically did. Change the game with children's books. Seriously.
well, when I got to the point when I wanted to kill myself and I was unsuccessful, but I guess that wasn't my time.
Got
I had to learn how to, love me, which, sometimes it's still, a challenge to the, challenge to the day. But I had to start, living for me and loving me and not worrying about, other people. So I know that if I struggle with those thoughts and my, thoughts, and I know so many kids that was in my position or even worse, you know, everybody always assume, well, you was in a two-parent household. Shit. If I knew I was gonna go through that, I'd just been a one parent. Or,
I was one parent.
so it's like everything ain't always what it's cracked up to be because, everybody's dealing with their own demons and stuff. So once I try to take my life and, I got back on track, I just wanted to pour into where everything the trauma started from. And it started as a child. So that was the like, the children's book. And then when I wrote I Matter, I used the alphabet again, but I made it an affirmation book. Like, I am awesome. I am brave. I am confident in just speaking powerful words, within the children. And, that became my thing. And then the most powerful thing I was able to do was to share my journey with PTSD, not telling people how I've overcome it and I'm this great person, just trials and tribulations and things that I discover along the way. And that none of us is not perfect. And we're always one situation away from going completely out our minds.
Oh,
So, I just want people to understand you're normal. It's not nobody else normal. And don't feel bad about that. Embrace who you are. And if people don't like it, you gotta learn how to, you have to learn how to block that out because not everybody's gonna accept you. And I know that I'm different. I know that I operate on a different frequency than a lot of people. And I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with that before, but I'm perfectly fine, with who I am. And, I just go with it that way. So when I write, I'm writing from a deep place. When it come with
Mm.
kids, I did my research. The average 2-year-old hears 432 negative comments a day versus 32 positive. So just imagine as they get older and older, and the more access to, social media and things of what they're hearing. So my book is just a small token, of what I'm giving some positivity. So, our matter really means a lot to me because, at a lot of point in my life, I didn't feel like I mattered, not to my parents, not to my family. I didn't feel like I mattered or I belonged, and that's why I had wanted to take my life, and you know I matter represents like what I wanted to have and what I've overcome
Ash,
because I
that,
need
that
those affirmations.
that was that's deep. That's amazing. That's deep. You know, I applaud you for doing everything you're doing, especially with these books. Especially I Matter. That's a big one because a lot of people need to hear that. Even grown adults. Grown adults probably need to hear it more than ever before. But you're right, children definitely need to hear that. I know some adults, even older than me, that probably need to hear it. So, the teenage level. But let me ask you, before I wrap this up, I'm gonna ask you a question here. What does a mentor mean to you now in your life now, after everything you've been through in your life up to this stage? What does a mentor being to you now?
A mentor for me is giving someone else hope. Whatever darkness that they experience, whatever trauma they experience, you give a person hope. You might not reach everybody, but if you can reach someone and pull someone up out their darkness and make them see that it can be light at the end of the tunnel, you've done your part. I don't feel like I'll be doing myself or God justice if I go through all these things and I've overcome it and I don't share that path, good, bad, or ugly, to someone else so they know that, they can turn things around. I'm 39 and I'm still, turning things around. One of the best things that's happened to me, was getting a job, a career at Pecan, up on City Line Avenue, getting that stability, having people who trust in me, and being a mentor is just having that rope and you send it back down to someone and you're pulling them up. I wouldn't be nothing without the resources or help from other people, and so it's my obligation and my duty that I love to do to reach back down and help the next person. And I don't need no recognition. I don't need nothing on my grave says she did this. This is for my soul. I sleep better at night when I know like I did something positive to affect someone.
It's amazing.
So
Ashley, you are amazing. You are an amazing person. I am
thank you.
deadly, dead ass serious. You're an amazing for person. Before I give you the last say, I gotta play my little game with you, young lady. 15 questions, pick and choose. Pick and choose random questions.
Okay.
Probably the best game you will ever play in your life. You will always be entertained by this shit. So let's set the clock. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You have 90 seconds. This is Miss Ashley Wood. She is ready to play and begin. Winning the lottery or landing your dream job?
Winning the lottery.
Talking or listening?
Listening.
Telling a joke or hearing one?
Telling one.
Call or texting?
Call.
Horror or comedy?
Comedy.
Read a book or watch a movie?
Read a book.
Words or actions?
Actions.
If you could only wear one color for the rest of your life, what color would that be?
Red.
Rich and famous or rich and unknown?
Rich and unknown.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Start work early or leave, no, sorry, start work late or leave work early?
Leave work early.
Singing or dancing?
Dancing.
Favorite food?
Cheesesteaks.
Your least favorite thing in basic training?
Push-ups.
Celebrity crush?
Ooh. Taraji P. Henson.
She killed it. She killed it. She killed it. That's actually one of the fastest ones I had. I mean, damn, girl. What the hell? All right, Miss Woods. I would like
Can
you
I?
to give, no, I want to give you the floor here. Let's say a young lady or young man is listening to this and they have they recognize some of the stuff that you went through as a kid. What advice you would give someone that's going through that environment, that situation with their parents? Like, what would you tell them how to handle, how to escape through that today?
First and foremost, if anybody's out there going through something like that, don't automatically think that you're not loved. Sometimes you're not noticed, or people don't, know that you exist, and that's all right. Find that person that you feel comfortable to, and just talk. Understand that solutions is not going to happen right then and there or overnight. And a big part of healing in this world is communication. Communication with God, communication with yourself, and communication to the ones that you trust, with your secrets and things of that nature. If you are not real and honest with yourself, no help is nothing that anybody can do is not going to help you. Um, and no matter how somebody, you know, talks to you, look down at you, or if they're, pushing you away, love you. Look at all the things that you do good, feel amazing about. You got to pour into you before somebody else does. And sometimes, even if it comes from our own parents, and it makes us flabbergasted, like how the people that brought us in this world would treat us like that. I learned that, like, later on in my life, that they went through things that they didn't know how to handle. And sometimes trauma is just passed on generations, and try to be that person that break it, not the person that fall victim to it. You can only be victim once, but you can be a survivor forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. This woman's amazing. She has a
Thank you.
great story. I mean, I'm in awe right now. Seriously. I mean, your story is fantastic. It's amazing. I am proud of you for everything you've accomplished, what you've been through. I can relate to matter of fact, a good chunk of what you've been through. Trust me, been through it. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on my show. Thank you so much for gracing me your pleasure with your presence and telling us your journey. And I know it's going to affect someone and help someone. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I love what you're doing. Sabrina speaks highly of you, and I got the experience of you for myself. And could keep doing what you're doing because you are affecting positively and helping people. And whatever is the end goal for you, I wish you nothing but the best in all your endeavors. And make sure you keep God first. And that's all you can do.
I appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week on Let's Talk About It. Peace. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the show. Please subscribe, click on the bio, support the show. Thank you so much again. We'll see you next week for another amazing episode on Let's Talk About It.